For most of modern history, any report involving unidentified objects in the sky was automatically pushed into the category of speculation, misinterpretation, or imagination. This was not just a cultural stance, but also an institutional one. The unknown was treated as noise, something not worth serious attention. But over the past few decades, that position has begun to shift slowly, quietly, but in a way significant enough to reopen a debate many thought was already closed. Today, the term UFO has been officially replaced in U.S. military contexts by UAP, which stands for Unidentified Aerial Phenomena. This change does not confirm extraterrestrial origin. It does not validate popular theories. It simply reflects a shift toward more technical and neutral language used to describe phenomena that still lack a conclusive public explanation. And that is the key point. Even official acknowledgement of these phenomena creates a middle space, a space where something has been observed, recorded, and analyzed, but not fully understood. And it is precisely inside this gap that interpretations, narratives, and theories begin to form. Among these narratives, one of the most recurring ideas over decades is that certain UAP-related phenomena might be associated not only with unidentified objects, but also with reported entities described by witnesses. These descriptions do not come from a single source, nor from a single era. They appear in military testimonies, civilian accounts, independent research interviews, and even reinterpretations of older cultural records. Over time, patterns were noticed across different accounts, and these patterns led some researchers in modern ufology to organize them into informal categories. These categories are not scientific classifications. They are not recognized by governments or academic institutions. They are interpretive groupings based on repeated narrative patterns. From this perspective, four main groups repeatedly appear in modern ufology: the Greys, the Nordics, the Reptilians, and the Insectoids. Each of these labels represents not confirmed species, but recurring descriptions in human accounts attempting to explain the unknown. Before analyzing any of these categories, it is important to clearly separate evidence from interpretation. In the United States, official bodies such as the Department of Defense and the ARO, All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, have released reports on unidentified aerial phenomena. These reports acknowledge that military personnel and sensor systems have recorded events that cannot be immediately explained. However, those same reports remain consistent on a key point: there is no verified evidence of extraterrestrial technology, no confirmed recovery of non-human craft, and no confirmed biological entities associated with these phenomena. This means that, within official knowledge, there is currently no validated proof of non-human life involvement. What exists instead is a gap between observation and explanation, a space where incomplete data, technological limitations, and human interpretation overlap. This type of gap is not unusual in science. But in the case of UAPs, it has become a fertile ground for broader narratives. These narratives are not created randomly. They are built from individual testimonies, often from people who genuinely believe in what they experienced. Some of these individuals are former military personnel, pilots, or technicians reporting encounters with objects exhibiting unusual behavior. Others are civilians describing personal experiences that do not fit conventional explanations. Over time, these accounts were compared, and when certain descriptive elements appeared repeatedly, including references to similar beings, researchers began organizing them into categories, not as proof of existence, but as a way to structure narrative patterns. The so-called alien species do not come from official documentation or scientific classification systems. They emerge primarily from a mixture of personal testimonies, ufology literature, interviews, and later reinterpretations by independent researchers. One important detail is that these descriptions are not consistent as a fixed dataset. They vary in detail, intensity, and context. However, certain visual and behavioral patterns appear frequently enough to generate informal groupings. Over time, these groupings became consolidated into four main categories in modern popular ufology: Greys, Nordics, Reptilians, and Insectoids. Each of these names functions more as a descriptive label than an actual classification. The Greys are described as small, gray-skinned beings with large eyes. The Nordics are described as humanoid entities resembling humans, often tall and symmetrical in appearance. The Reptilians are described as humanoid reptile-like beings associated in many narratives with control or manipulation. The Insectoids are described as insect-like entities, often resembling mantis-like forms. None of these categories are scientifically verified. They belong to narrative ufology and cultural interpretation, not established biology or astronomy. Among all descriptions linked to UAP phenomena and alleged abduction experiences, none is more widely reported than the entity commonly referred to as the Greys. These beings are typically described as short in stature, with elongated limbs, large heads in proportion to their bodies, and dark, glossy eyes without visible whites or pupils. Facial expression is often described as minimal or unreadable, contributing to a sense of emotional neutrality in these accounts. These descriptions began gaining prominence in the second half of the 20th century, especially through reported abduction narratives. Many of these accounts describe fragmented memories, altered states of awareness, or experiences that are difficult to independently verify. From a scientific standpoint, there is no physical evidence confirming the existence of such beings. Researchers often point to psychological, cultural, and neurological explanations, including memory reconstruction, expectation bias, and sleep-related phenomena such as sleep paralysis or lucid dreaming. Despite this, the Grey archetype has become deeply embedded in global popular culture, appearing in films, books, and artistic representations worldwide. This raises an interesting question, not about their existence, but about why this specific image became so dominant in human interpretations of the unknown. The group known as Nordics presents a clear contrast to the Greys. Instead of small, distorted figures, these accounts describe entities that closely resemble humans, often idealized in appearance. Descriptions include tall humanoids with symmetrical facial features, light-colored skin, and in some accounts, bright or light-colored eyes. Behavior attributed to these beings varies, but they are often described as calm, observant, or communicating in non-standard ways. In certain narratives, they are associated with messages, warnings, or brief interactions with human witnesses. However, as with all other categories, there is no verifiable evidence confirming these accounts as physical reality. A common interpretation in psychology and cultural anthropology suggests that Nordics may represent symbolic projections of idealized human figures, possibly linked to protection, authority, or advanced intelligence archetypes. The so-called Reptilians occupy a more controversial space in modern ufology. Unlike Greys and Nordics, which appear in older and more varied accounts, Reptilians are strongly associated with modern conspiracy narratives. Descriptions include humanoid beings with reptilian traits, such as scaly skin, vertical or slit-like eyes, and human-like posture combined with distinctly non-human features. In some narratives, they are associated with systems of control or hidden influence over human society. From an academic standpoint, there is no verifiable evidence supporting their existence. Most researchers classify this category as part of modern myth-making, influenced by ancient symbolic representations of serpents and hybrid creatures across human cultures. The insect category is less frequently reported, but still appears in a notable number of accounts within ufological literature. These descriptions typically involve tall entities resembling large insects, often compared to mantis-like creatures. Some reports describe a strong sense of observation or silent presence associated with these beings. Because these accounts are often rare and frequently tied to altered states of consciousness such as vivid dreams or subjective experiences, they are widely interpreted as psychological or symbolic phenomena rather than physical entities. When all these narratives are examined together, the central conclusion remains the same. There is no scientific confirmation or verifiable physical evidence supporting the existence of these categories as real biological entities. What does exist is a complex collection of human reports, cultural interpretations, subjective experiences, and recurring narrative patterns. This does not invalidate personal experiences, but it also does not allow them to be treated as objective fact. Within official frameworks, UAP phenomena remain open and unresolved. Meanwhile, these entity categories belong to a different domain, the human attempt to give form to the unknown. After everything explored so far, one thing becomes clear: there is always another layer beyond what we currently understand. And this is not the end of the journey. In the next video, we are going deeper into additional reported categories that appear across various sources and testimonies. We will explore the Arcturians, often associated with highly advanced forms of intelligence and nonlinear communication, the blue avians, described as bird-like humanoid entities with a strong observational presence, the lyrans, frequently portrayed with feline characteristics and linked in some narratives to ancient cosmic origin stories, the Anunnaki, one of the most controversial groups, often reinterpreted from ancient historical texts, the so-called tall whites, described as tall, pale, humanoid figures associated with direct contact reports, and the Syrians, often connected to narratives involving subtle influence and interaction with humanity. None of these will be presented as confirmed fact. Instead, they will be treated the same way as in this video, as layers of reports, interpretations, and narrative structures that have developed over time. Because ultimately, the question is not only about what might be out there. It is also about how humanity continues to interpret the unknown. If you enjoyed this type of content, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. In future videos, you'll delve even deeper into the mysteries of humanity.